Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. It's fair to say that the Wuthering Waves 2.8 story has been a pretty hot topic of discussion as of late, and I actually was an individual who was on the front lines when it came to giving my take on the quest. I didn't give like a numerical score or anything, but I did give a bit of a rundown for why I had a lot of issues with it. And the main issue that I had was that the quest felt really rushed. It felt like there were a lot of unfinished components. It felt like there were a lot of pacing issues. It felt like there were a lot of abrupt cuts. And so I made a post like this. And as you can see over here, it got quite a few views, a couple of likes, but it led to a lot of discussion over here in the comments section, where there are a lot of individuals critiquing me for my take, saying that, oh, I'm a tourist, oh, I'm somebody that has low media literacy, and I'm somebody that just wasn't really understanding what was going on, or I'm not the target audience. There's some issues with that statement. And what I just want to say up front is that those individuals, the ones accusing me of being somebody with low media literacy, well, I've actually done a more detailed breakdown on all of my critiques, and I'm ready to share them with you today. And we'll actually get some insight as to who in this situation wasn't actually understanding what was going on. So without further ado, let me show all of you a bit more of a detailed breakdown that I'm actually going to go through today using a replay of the story. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on over here. So in my actual story playthrough, I did a bit of a breakdown, and I wanted to explain and talk about this one a little bit more in detail so I could give... Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Yeah, don't zoom in too much on YouTube. You'll end up with whatever the hell is going on my screen. Here's my short little review. So I'll take this piece by piece, and we're first going to start off with what I thought was good, because I think a lot of people will be able to agree with the good components. Short review. Pros. Amazing visuals. And second, amazing world design. I think that's really like up front and in display very, very, very prominently in this one cutscene over here. Not when you're on the bench, but when you're doing that sort of like follow-up conversation after you've taken a break for the day. This is what I mean by the quest has amazing cinematography. The quest has amazing visuals. When people think about the whole, like, oh, this was like an anime episode, this has like an anime homage, all of that, I can agree with them specifically, right? This scene over here is absolute cinema. They got like a lot of great stuff going on. It goes for quite a long time as well, and it really shows off, especially with moments. You know, like this, you can see the sort of like panning eyes, all of that. It does a great job. I don't think anyone can disagree with that. Second, amazing story presentation. I think that's like, that was already like woven in there. That cutscene is really all I need to show to augment that argument. And then, incredible EN voice work.
My time? Does any of it mean anything?
I really liked what they did with the JP accents and actually hiring a bunch of Japanese people to voice the people in Honami City. I think that was fantastically done too as well, and gave the quest a lot of authenticity in EN specifically. Those are all reasons for why I like the story. Those are all components that I thought were good. Now, let's get into what I had issues with. And let's take this again, piece by piece. Point number one, the pacing felt disjointed. We first started off with coffee breaks, cleaning, sprucing up the hideout. And then suddenly we're in a rush to reach the main tower and actually deal with the plot of the story. I think one thing that a lot of people recognized across this story was that there were a lot of like slice of life components to it, right? A lot of like very chill things. You literally do things like, I think in this scene over here, you're sharing a cup of fruit, canned fruit with Chisa. The sort of like prep for this scene is Chisa saying, I've been trapped here for 2 months. Life is passing me by. I really want to go home. This is like, you know, this is causing me a lot of concern. I'm stressed from being in this area. Right before this scene, she just says, oh, let's just take a break tonight. There's no lament tonight. Let's just go ahead and take a break. The lack of urgency and the kind of like side activities that you do where you're like cleaning the cafe, you're getting like coffee from like the capybara, you're doing all of this stuff. It makes you think that it's not really like a big deal. It makes you think that nothing really matters that much with what's going on in the quest, because the characters themselves are basically saying that it doesn't matter because they're just relaxing for like 60% of the time in the entire main story chapter 1. They're just relaxing. They're just chilling at the hideout. They're just like grabbing tea and stuff like that, right? They're going on fun little adventures with like goofy little capybara. And then they're drinking coffee. But then suddenly, there's one pivotal moment, right, in the quest where everything just like, everything starts going crazy. There's one pivotal moment. And it's right here. Where suddenly Namipon, right, focuses the fuck up and then triangulates the coordinates, gets everything good to go for the tower. And I think it's right before this really, really nice visual scene too, right?
Want to take a little more time.
If you're in a hurry to meet it, brother, this is one of the lines that really just fucks with me. Chisa's been trapped here for 2 months with you. What do you mean if you're in a hurry to meet it? She's already been here for 2 fucking months, trapped in a repeating loop. And you gotta ask the question, oh, are you in a hurry? This is what I mean by I don't understand the pacing of this quest. It seems like this was meant to take place over a way longer period of time. But you're here for like 2 or 3 days. Maybe even less, maybe like 1 or 2, and then the issue gets resolved. The pacing doesn't really make sense. The side activities don't really make sense. And then when you relate it to the overall plot of this person is desperately trying to escape this time loop, it makes even less sense. And so, let's move on to the next point, which is in direct relation to the plot. The main plot felt contrived. It's literally a power of friendship finish. That's the reason. The reason for Chisa being trapped in here is because she literally has a statement where she says she feels useless. She feels like her powers can't work. And it all stems from the fact that she just lacks self-confidence because of her childhood. That's the whole quest. And then the entire resolution is just her believing in herself because her friends all said that she can do it. Guys, that is how this plot gets resolved. The power of friendship. Chisa, you can do it. We believe in you. You can change the world. All right, I can do it. That's all it is. That's literally the entire quest. And then, guess what? After she gains the power of friendship, then she can show up and then her and Rover can go deal with the final threat. And you want to know what the funniest part about this is? Low-key, I don't even know she needed to show up. Because this is the funny part, right? Chisa's escaping a reality, right?
Even if I have to gather myself 1,000
Look, she's like cutting through reality. She's escaping. Guess who's already there? Guess where she's escaping to? She's escaping away from like her own personal dimension where she's trapped in. Cuts her way out and then sees Rover over there. Rover was already ready to deal with the problem. Rover would probably have just soloed this thing. And like, it leads me to believe that like, because I'm missing some of the lead up over here. So the scene right before this, we're in Rover's perspective. And then we just, as Rover, get to this area where the fallacy is by ourselves. We're not trapped anywhere. We're not trapped anywhere. We don't have any self-confidence issues to work through. We just show up here. Then we play Chisa's part where she's like trapped because of all this stuff. Power of friendship occurs. And then she shows up next to Rover. Was she even needed? Was she even necessary? I don't really know. I think Rover would have just handled the issue by himself and she just kind of like shows up as like a nice little cameo. It makes it feel like her role in this quest, I don't even know like what it really was. With the power of friendship, she breaks through and then her and Rover deal with the issue and then like that's like it. It's not a very compelling plot. It's not something that makes me sit there and go, oh yeah, oh wait, this is nuts, this is wild. No, this is just, oh, okay, like this is one of the most cliche. I've had this power all along. I just didn't believe in myself. And now, because I've received validation and support from my closest friends, I now have the power to solve this problem. It's very lowbrow. It's very, I wouldn't even call it like shonen. It's like for like literal like 8-9-year-old level writing. And it's just very disappointing, especially given the incredible plot points that we had in versions like 2.2, in versions like 2.0, 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, which are all self-contained stories, by the way. Think about 2.5 stories, self-contained. 2.6 is self-contained. Some of them align with the overarching Renacida plot, but they all finish and end in the same version. And you, can tell what the conclusion is. And you want to know what the worst part about this is? 2.2's quest is like an hour shorter than this. Did y'all know that? 2.2's quest is like shorter than this one. But you probably have a way better opinion about what happened in Avenolium, with Cartithia, with Cantarella. You probably think that's way more memorable, and the story beats in there were way more mature and way more just gripping as like a narrative. But this one, brother, I can't do it. My powers, they're not working right now. Oh, you believe in me? Okay, my powers work properly now. What the fuck, man? That's not very exciting, is it? That's kind of boring, isn't it? That's my next critique. Now, let's talk about the multiple abrupt cuts. And I've already talked a little bit about them before. I talked about how you showing up at this tower was weird pacing. Let me show you the exact transition to you going up to that tower. You're currently chilling with Chisa. You just had your conversation on the terrace.
Live to hunt.
You just had the conversation over there and then had that cool cutscene. This is how you get to the tower. Okay. Rubhen's kind of sucks at the game.
To the tower we go. Are you ready, passenger?
Does that look like it was supposed to be like that? Hey, are you ready to go to the tower? Let's go. Boom! This is the elusive tower that we have spent the entire past hour and 30 minutes trying to plan on how to reach. We have spent so much time focusing on this tower, talking about how it's like the pivotal thing, how it solves the issue, how we need to get there to end this deadlock. We go through all this effort to find the coordinates, and then to get there, we literally just teleport. You go from a dialogue to right in front of this tower that you've been spending the entire quest trying to locate. Doesn't that just scream cut content to you? Doesn't this scream to you that there was meant to be an exploration component where we journey to the tower, defeat mobs, clear out obstacles, do all of that? Wouldn't that have made more sense? Instead, we just teleport over there after a dialogue sequence. This is how I know that there was cut content in this quest. That it was meant to be longer, that it was meant to have more components. And this is going to be a 3-part series. Because you saw, right? You remember when I mentioned that there was meant to be exploration components? That has to be the case. Because that leads into one of my other points. The minigame tutorial felt useless. Given that they spend all this time showing you all these features and they're never used a single time during this quest. Remember when we got all of these cutscenes at the start telling us, right? Oh, or like all these like little procedures at the start, right? Telling us how all these mechanics work. Oh, losing all stability. You're never at risk of losing stability during the quest. There's no way to fail any of these. I even went into the last boss fight and intentionally got hit an infinite number of times. And do you want to know how low my stability got? It just stays at 2. It's a cosmetic. It doesn't actually do anything. You can just repeatedly keep getting hit. And you won't go below 2. So it's a pointless mechanic over there. And so all of this time is spent showing you stability, showing you things like how the Nami Bone stickers work and all that shit. And it's pointless because the exploration is never done in the quest. You can't explore. You can't engage with the mechanics. The only time you actually go out, right? You're stuck on these very scripted adventures where you can't really like deviate or do anything else. The end result is that it's just pointless. It doesn't do anything. Especially this scene over here. This is like one of the only times that you venture out into the city, and all it is, it's just dialogue. And then walking around to guided objectives. This thing is huge. There's no opportunity to even engage with any of the exploration mechanics. Notice, my stability, it like doesn't even show up here.
Suspicious. May I ask?
But I'm in the zone. What is the point of even introducing all of these things unless they were meant to be used? What was the point of introducing these fucking stickers and then the gear and then like the special buffs when you have like 3 combat sections in the whole quest and these all buff your combat potential? That's what I'm saying over here is where the cut budget was. Or not, maybe not cut budget, but just scheduling. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, you just teleported here. Doesn't it make so much more sense for you to engage with the exploration mechanics, go out, and walk here yourself, and then have combat along the way? That sort of framing makes so much more sense for this quest, instead of you just teleporting from the fucking hideout after a dialogue and then teleporting over here. This has been the main objective of this quest. And you want to know what the most brutal part about this is? And I think God tier mentioned this. You want to know what would have been kind of badass? You want to know what would have been crazy? Recreating this scene from Chisa's Resonator showcase in-game. Recreating this scene or something like it.
Here comes the lead runner. First challenge. The Tower of
Where you're climbing the tower desperately.
So hold on.
There's like a time limit. Something like shit's like blowing up around you.
By the dark abyss. Rise above this grand shape.
Instead, boom, you're there. One loading screen later, you're there, bucko. Climbing the tower and fighting tacit discords versus cutscene. And this is what I mean by all these people saying that I'm wrong. Saying that there are issues, saying that it's a perfect quest. There are no pacing issues, no abruptness, nothing at all. It's a 10 out of 10 quest. Are you guys beginning to realize how now these individuals are clearly the ones that didn't know what they fucking played? And this is the unfortunate part, in my opinion, about the design of this quest. It has beautiful scenes like this. People will just remember these scenes. Think about why people glaze Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail stories. They see one cool cutscene, and they're like, this is the best thing ever. Oh my god, this is so peak. And then they ignore everything else in the quest because they saw one good cutscene. This quest has a lot of great moments like this, but unfortunately, those great moments don't suddenly negate the entire fucking quest. Those great moments don't suddenly wash away the glaring plot holes and the glaring ways that content was clearly cut from this fucking quest. Because you want to know something else? It doesn't end here. This isn't one of those. This isn't the only abrupt cut. There's one at the start with the Black Shores, and then there's this one over here after the final boss fight, where you're like with Chisa, right? You're like talking to her. You fight the boss. Notice this moment over here.
Come on over and try your father's new dish.
Curtain.
Notice how the last time Rover and Chisa show up after the fight, they're together. Get ready for this transition.
Sway and tease.
Right?
Oh no, he's dead.
Namipon
no,
is about to...
he disappeared.
Namipon is
Dear
dying.
passengers, this
So
No,
tragic, right?
is as
Namipon,
far
come
as I
back.
go.
Oh.
Get ready for this next scene.
No.
Get ready for this next scene.
Oh, he died.
And this is how I know there's more cut content. Check this out. Listen to what Rover says to Chisa here. Why are you out here alone? Shit.
Oh.
Okay. We ask her, why are you out here alone when the last time we were on screen, we were together? When did you leave her? There was clearly meant to be something that occurred before this, but after the previous cutscene. Because why the fuck would we be surprised or, like, be asking questions when literally the last time we were seen, we're right next to her? We're literally right next to her in the previous sequence. If you can't recognize that there was something cut from this quest, that there's been a lot cut from this quest, and that there are a fuck ton of abrupt cuts and shit that kind of doesn't really make sense, and this is the biggest example of what I mean by dialogue that makes no fucking sense, because we've just been with her this whole goddamn time. When did we leave? Why would we leave? There's a big transition in the time as well. It's night over here, but then it's day over here. But this is also the other thing. They didn't go back to their resting spot. They didn't go back to the cafe. It was night, now it's day. They never went back to the cafe, and apparently they spent some time apart too, because Rover's asking why she's here. If you think that makes sense, if you didn't have a problem with what happened here, then you weren't paying attention. If you didn't call this out, you were the one that was goofing off, that wasn't paying attention to the fucking quest. Because how the fuck does any of this make sense? Doesn't my initial statement now? It was clear that it was rushed. It has tons of abrupt cuts, dialogue that doesn't make sense, and a whole tutorial for a feature that doesn't even work or doesn't ever get used in the quest. That's all stuff that doesn't make sense. And you can clearly see where there are areas where exploration, combat, parts of the event were supposed to be in there. But then, like I'm saying before, they ran out of time, and so they cut those components out. And you can literally see the gaping hole that those pieces made in the entire story experience. But that's only if you can put aside your subjectivity because you liked scenes like this. But unfortunately, because people, they're kind of like drawn to these scenes like moths to a light, they're going to see just something like this. Say,
Peek! Oh my god, she's my waifu! Oh, I love her so much! Oh my god, Kuro, they think they made like romance anime! Oh, this is the best thing ever! Oh my god!
they're going to conveniently just forget all of the massive plot holes in this fucking quest. There are even other pieces that I didn't touch up on. For example, this whole plot line with fucking Sumika. What the hell is even going on over here? Why do they only, with Sumika, and this is going to be one of the big pieces over here, why didn't they spend more time building out their relationship?
Entrance.
So that this sacrifice over here can have more impact. Instead, I'm just kind of like, oh, I guess Sumika just built like that. Because we never see her and Chisa do anything. But then suddenly this person is going to basically do the equivalent of seppuku to try to get help for her. She climbed up the tower, knew she was actively dying during the climb up, so that she could do this one thing, get help for Chisa. That was her only objective, her only mission. She dies to complete it. Why? Why did she sacrifice herself like this? Why did she make such a commitment? There's like one image of them together before this montage over here, right? They play like a bit of a montage where her and her, where they're hanging out. But before this entire minute, or this entire sequence, an hour, 45 minutes in, the only thing you get is one PNG where Chisa's like on the couch, like fucking reading, right? And then Sumika's like fucking around with a watch. That is the only CG that we get of their relationship. I don't even know what happened here. This thing was so half-baked, it was crazy. Legitimately. This whole dynamic that they had going on, the big sacrifice, you can't really feel that much impact from it because this character got almost no characterization at all. Likely because the devs ran out of time. And this is also one of my other takes. I think 2.7 was meant to be a 5-week patch, but they needed more time to complete this quest. Because how the fuck is there so much cut content clearly visible in this quest, but then 2.7 was also a 6-weeker? I think this one literally came down to the wire, and they just had to drop a fuck ton of stuff to make this go live in time. And they did not want to rush, or they did not want to extend 2.7. I can see it clearly what's going on. They're probably diverting a lot of resources to 3.0, but they kind of fucked up a lot of the sequencing in this quest in the process. And you want to know the biggest piece of proof of all that I know this quest was rushed? You can't fucking tell me that this quest was on schedule, that it had no hiccups at all, when we're fighting the false sovereign for the 3rd version in a row. This was the version, this was the story boss for 2.6, 2.7, and 2.8. This will be the final boss of the story. 3 patches in a row. Except this is just the fucking Silver Surfer version. Hey, he's Chrome. It's a Cyberpunk reference. Get the fuck out of here. In what universe are we fighting this guy for the 3rd update in a row? Just tell me. If this quest is not rushed out the gate. Why didn't we get a fucking samurai? Just port in the fucking Magu Kinki from Genshin. That would have... What the fuck? I have no words for this. This is baffling. This is genuinely, I think, the biggest part that just throws me off. How do you just recycle? You put on a silver skin for the boss, and then just replay him again. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought this said Chrono Rift version for a second. No, it's fucking Yakujin. They even know he's supposed to be Japanese. Why the fuck is it the false sovereign again? This is the Renacida. This is Caligula. This is meant to be Ovidius's ancestor. The one that he got reincarnated based off of from Christopher's writing. This is tied to Ovidius and that story. It's a Septimont boss. Why the fuck is it in Japan? This quest was rushed. And all of the issues that I have with it stem from the fact that you can clearly see the bits and pieces left at the cutting room table when this was being developed, and it results in one of the most choppy, inconsistent, and downright just bad story experiences ever. That's on top of the fact that I think the plot is just not really that great. It's power of friendship. I'm here in this situation. I'm trapped because I don't believe in myself. And now that I believe in myself, because I've had internal reflection, and I've met a new person that believes in me, I'm gonna solve all the issues that we have now. Like, brother, that's like fucking, that's like... Hey, if you like it, that's fine. But this is one of the most simplistic, low complexity, surface level plots this game has ever had. It might be the most surface level plot the game has ever had. The power of friendship prevails. Compare that to every other self-contained story that we've had. And you want to know what else I've said on top of it? I think companion quests are literally better than this one. The Carlotta companion quest, better than this one. The Camellia companion quest, better than this one. The Chicona companion quest, better than this one. And those are all shorter. They're all self-contained. They do build off of existing lore, but guess what? We don't really even explore the lore of Honami in this quest. All we explore is like, damn, Chisa's really fucking sad because she's trapped. That's all we fucking explore. And damn, she's had a dog shit childhood. That's all we end up exploring. I basically know nothing about fucking Honami at all. And I'm just gonna be honest, guys. It's a bit of a letdown. The last point that I want to address over here is this whole idea that Western CCs are the only ones critiquing it. There's a lot of people saying, or spreading this narrative, that JP, KR, and CN love the quest. And you want to know what I've asked? Proof? And you want to know the pieces of proof that I've seen that are actually getting reposted on Twitter by people? Somebody reposted this and said, this is the proof. The CN community seems to be very happy with Chisa's story and the relationship of her with Rover. This is one of the few comments on Billy Billy. So keyword, there are only a few comments like this, and then look at the engagement of this comment. 2 hours ago, with no likes or dislikes. These guys are spreading the narrative that JP, KR, and CN love this fucking story based off literal 0 engagement posts that everyone's ignoring, that nobody's addressing. People are using posts like this, where a random Japanese guy gets 140 likes and then saying everyone in Japan likes the story. I don't understand this at all. People seem to be kind of like framing this as Western CCs just hate the game and everyone in the East loves it. And these are the fucking receipts that they're bringing to the table. I'm going to be real over here. This is probably the dumbest part of the drama. That's why I'm saving it towards the end and I'm not spending that much time on it. Because genuinely, this is the dumbest thing. This is like the dumbest logic I've ever seen in my goddamn life. So we're just going to leave it here with this one. I'll let you guys be the judge of whether or not 0 engagement posts are indicative of a country that has billions of people. Because that's what China has, billions of people. And you can see over here, we got 409 individuals saying, yeah, this post with 0 likes and 0 dislikes posted 2 hours ago. Oh yeah, that reflects an entire country. I got no words about that one. Hopefully, you guys are able to see over here, we've broken down every single little bit of critique. So I'll go into my final rating now. I rated the overall quest a 5 out of 10 on stream. But it's probably fairer to give it a 6 or 7, given the genuinely great design of the visuals and presentation. This quest to me felt like a narrative mess, with a couple of brilliant moments that'll likely have many applauding. But when you compare this to the 2.x arc, it's flat, and then character story quests also exceed this one, and are better narratively, and have like a better, more cohesive ending, cohesive plot, better feelings after you finish them. And I think that's just tough for a main story quest. Because a lot of people like to say, why are you comparing 2.8 to the Renacida arc that's had multiple versions to expand on itself? Frolova's story is self-contained. Augusta's story is self-contained. You don't need to know about Raguna to understand Augusta's 2.6 story. You don't need to know about Raguna to understand Yuno's 2.6 story. You don't need to know about Raguna, Leviathan, or any of this shit, well, sort of, to understand Frolova's story. All you know is that Leviathan has a fucking gem and it's really important for Frolova's dream. That's it. Like, you need so little context to understand any of those self-contained stories, and they're so much better than this one. 2.7, though, sure, you can't really compare this quest to 2.7 at all, because 2.7 builds upon all of the previous version stories. But those individual building blocks that 2.7 is built on, oh, we're perfectly fine to compare 2.8 to those. And let's be real here. This quest falls way behind everything we received in the past year, and I've given all the reasons for why. So yeah, hopefully this one helps. Hopefully this breakdown, all the actual clips that we've seen, and the evidence and the proof has made my position a bit more clear. Because I think there are definitely great components to this quest, but there's way too much really mid stuff to just straight up say that this is good. And I'm not gonna let moments like this brainwash me into forgetting everything that was wrong with this quest. Because if I did that, then I would be a Genshin Impact player. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.